Red. I didn't know you have a son.
Leon Prater has finally exposed Dexter's darkest secret. In episode 8 of Dexter, Resurrection, the collector of killers uncovers the truth at the worst possible time, with Harrison caught in the middle. But here's the real question. What does Prater do with this knowledge? Does he admire Dexter, betray him, or use this secret to destroy everything Dexter has built? Because this isn't just a revelation, it's a turning point that could define Dexter's fate, and maybe even cost Harrison his life. Episode 8, The Kill Room. Where it happens begins with Angel Batista tightening the noose around Dexter. For weeks, Batista has been quietly mapping out Dexter's driving patterns, analyzing routes, and zeroing in on inconsistencies. It's the most competent detective work we've seen from Batista in years, and it nearly pays off. At one point, Batista comes dangerously close to walking in on Dexter mid-setup, and for a moment, it feels like the Bay Harbor Butcher has finally run out of luck. But in true Dexter fashion, he improvises and flips the entire situation back onto Batista. Instead of exposing Dexter, Batista ends up looking like the unstable one. His NYPD detectives start to doubt him, even suspecting he staged evidence himself. What should have been a breakthrough moment turns into humiliation, leaving Batista isolated. But the danger hasn't gone away. It's only grown stronger, because Batista may be discredited for now, but Dexter knows he can't keep this cat-and-mouse game going forever. If Batista continues pushing, one of them won't make it out alive. And just as Dexter is juggling this threat from the law, another danger explodes from the shadows. Dexter's target in episode 8 is Al Jolly, also known as Rapunzel, the final loose end from Leon Prater's disturbing club of serial killers. Taking Al out would have cleared the board and cemented Dexter's cover within Prater's inner circle. But it doesn't go as planned. Dexter sets the stage, prepares the kill room, and is moments away from crossing another name off his list. And yet, Al slips away. For the first time this season, Dexter fails to finish the job. That failure leaves a killer on the streets. And more importantly, it creates a dangerous loose end. Because in Dexter's world, leaving a thread hanging almost always means disaster. Al's escape adds another unpredictable piece to the puzzle. Now, Dexter isn't just being hunted by Batista. He's not just being studied by Prater. He's also got a living, breathing liability out there who knows far too much. This botched kill makes Dexter vulnerable in a way we haven't seen in years. He's no longer in complete control, and the consequences of that slip will echo in the episodes to come. While all this is unfolding, Leon Prater himself continues to evolve into Dexter's most dangerous adversary yet. On the surface, Prater is a wealthy collector, obsessed with killers the way some people obsess over art. But his fascination runs far deeper. It's rooted in trauma. As a child, Prater lost his parents in what appeared to be an accident, but was actually staged. That event twisted his psyche, pushing him to study and even admire the darkest human impulses. Over the years, he cultivated relationships with infamous killers, treating them like rare treasures. Prater's obsession has shaped his entire worldview. Killers are not monsters to be stopped, they are icons to be preserved, studied, and in some ways, worshipped. That's why his bond with Dexter, or Red as Prater knows him, is so unsettling. Prater trusts him. He ignores Charlie's suspicions, brushing aside her warnings that Dexter isn't who he claims to be. He insists, "I've gotten to know him, and I trust him." This blind spot isn't just hubris. It's Prater's downfall waiting to happen, because his admiration for Dexter blinds him to the danger standing right in front of him. And when the truth finally breaks through that fog of trust, the fallout is devastating. The final act of episode 8 delivers the gut punch fans have been waiting for. Prater finally sees Dexter for who he truly is, the Bay Harbor Butcher, the man behind the mask. And it happens in the worst possible moment, with Harrison right there, vulnerable, caught between them. This isn't just a revelation, it's a nuclear bomb. Because Prater now holds power over Dexter. He knows the truth, he knows the code, and he knows how much Harrison means to him. Prater could destroy Dexter's cover with a single word. He could manipulate him, blackmail him, or worse, turn his obsession into a weapon by dragging Harrison into his twisted games. And that's where the theories explode. Some fans believe Prater will try to recruit Dexter, inviting him deeper into the killer's club. Others think betrayal is inevitable, that Prater, furious at being deceived, will turn violently against him. A third camp wonders if Prater might admire Dexter even more now that he knows the truth, forging an uneasy alliance that blurs the line between hunter and hunted. But no matter which path unfolds, one thing is certain: Dexter has never been more exposed. With this revelation, the balance of power shifts completely. For the first time, Dexter isn't in control of his own narrative. Batista is closing in from one side, driven by the law. Prater is closing in from the other, driven by obsession. And Al Jolly's escape hangs over it all like a ticking time bomb. Some fans even argue that Prater himself may be the New York Ripper, a killer hiding in plain sight, mirroring Dexter, but without the code of justice. If that theory proves true, then Prater isn't just a collector, he's Dexter's darkest reflection, a version of what the Bay Harbor Butcher could have become without restraint. And in the middle of this chaos is Harrison, innocent, vulnerable, and now a pawn in a deadly game between his father and a man who could become either his greatest protector or his ultimate destroyer. So where does this leave us? Dexter is surrounded. Batista won't stop. Prater now knows everything. Al Jolly remains at large. And Harrison's life has never been more at risk. The truth is, this revelation sets the stage for the most dangerous chapter in Dexter's story. A betrayal could destroy him, an alliance could corrupt him, and a single misstep could cost him his son. This isn't just about the Bay Harbor Butcher anymore. It's about whether Dexter can protect Harrison, or whether Leon Prater will twist that bond into his deadliest weapon yet. So what do you think? Will Leon Prater betray Dexter, or will he try to recruit him into his killer's club? Drop your theories below, because this twist has changed everything. And if you're still watching, comment Prater knows. So I know you're one of the true Dexter fans sticking with me until the end.
Hiding from somebody?
No, here alone.
Oh, so you're actually reading that brochure? So no parents? You an orphan or what?
Yeah, my mom was murdered and I killed my dad. I'm f***ing with you. My mom is dead, though.
I'm Gigi.
I'm Harrison.
Harrison thinks he's finally found love. In Dexter, Resurrection, his connection with Gigi feels like the one thing pulling him toward a normal life.
Hello, future students. We're about to begin our tour. Welcome to the Collings College of Criminology. I'm a sophomore here, and I will be your tour guide this afternoon. Right this way.
But what if that love isn't what it seems? Because some fans believe Gigi is hiding the darkest secret of all, that she's the daughter of the New York Ripper. If that theory is true, it would mean Harrison and Gigi are bound together not just by romance, but by blood. Both of their fathers could be serial killers. And that shocking possibility changes everything we thought we knew about the show.
Aw, it's gonna be so much fun having you around.
Would you maybe, you want to hang out sometime?
How about tonight?
Tonight? You like to dance? I could get us into a pretty cool spot.
So what's the truth? Is Gigi really the Ripper's daughter? And if so, what does that mean for Harrison's future? When Gigi first appeared in episode 7, most fans assumed she was just Harrison's new love interest, a character designed to give him stability in a world full of chaos. But for longtime Dexter viewers, that immediately raised a red flag, because this franchise has a history of introducing seemingly innocent characters late in the story, only for them to hide massive secrets. Think back to Season 1 when Rudy Cooper turned out to be Brian Moser, Dexter's own brother and the ice truck killer.
Are they all killers?
Yes.
Absurd avenger.
It's not why I kill.
You could be yourself around me. Who am I?
A killer. Without reason or regret. You're free.
You could be that way too. You can't be a killer and a hero. It doesn't work that way!
Gigi's timing feels like deja vu, and that's why the theories around her exploded so fast. The most suspicious detail is her injured arm.
What happened to your arm?
New Year's Eve happened. Some drunk idiot rammed my motorcycle. Worst part is the nerve damage left my hand stuck like this.
She laughs it off, blaming a recent motorcycle crash, but the vagueness almost feels deliberate. Why bring so much attention to a wound if it isn't hiding something bigger? In Dexter, details like this are never random. It may not explain why the Ripper stopped years ago, but it could be the writers planting a seed a hint that Gigi's past isn't as clean as it looks. Then there's her eerie connection to Harrison. Within moments of meeting him, she somehow recognizes he's an orphan.
So no parents?
Yeah. My mom was murdered and I killed my dad. I'm f***ing with you. My mom is dead, though.
I'm Gigi.
That's not normal intuition. That feels like lived experience. Like she too grew up with the scars of a broken family. Fans have pointed out that Gigi's quick insight could signal her own ties to foster care or orphanhood, the same world where Harrison has always struggled to belong. But here's where things get even darker. The Ripper's voice, revealed in episode 7, was clearly male. Or was it?
I have been investigating the Ripper since I joined the force. He continues to contact and torment the loved ones of his victims. A message he left for the sister of a victim.
She thought she could run. She didn't have anywhere to go in that shitty little house of hers, hiding under that flimsy quilt. Bet that was a gift from Grandma, huh? That's why I took it off her before I ripped her open. Wouldn't want to get blood all over Grandma's quilt. Man, you should have heard your sister begging me to just kill her. Incredible how long a girl as small as her could stay alive while I took her organs out one by one.
In an age of voice changers, AI tools, and deliberate misdirection, the idea that the show gave us a male voice might just be a trick. After all, Gigi being a woman would make her the perfect misdirect. By hiding behind a fake male voice, she could have kept suspicion away from herself all along. And then came episode 8. Harrison and Gigi's relationship moved forward quickly, maybe too quickly. We saw them spend the night together in a hotel, and the next morning, Harrison woke up, opened the curtains, and smiled at her sleeping by his side. It was one of the few moments in his life where he seemed truly happy, almost like he was free from his father's darkness at last. But that's exactly why it felt like a setup, because in storytelling, when a character finally finds peace, it's usually the calm before the storm. Episode 8 hammered that theme home. Multiple killers, from Blessing to Al to even Dexter himself, talked about keeping their secret lives away from their families. But those walls are crumbling fast.
Red, I didn't know you have a son.
And for Harrison, that means his new love might be dragging him back into the very world he's desperate to escape. Think about the parallels. Harrison is haunted by his father's legacy as the Bay Harbor Butcher. Gigi may be haunted by the legacy of the New York Ripper. Put them together, and what do you get? Two kids born in blood, unknowingly recreating the same tragic cycle. Their bond isn't just attraction, it's recognition. A killer sensing another killer. And that's exactly what makes this theory so terrifying. If Gigi really is the Ripper's daughter, then Harrison isn't walking away from his past. He's walking straight back into it. If Gigi's secret comes out, Harrison won't just be heartbroken, he could be dragged into a spiral that ends with prison, or worse. And the writers know exactly what they're doing. Dexter has always been about legacies, about how the sins of one generation poison the next. For Harrison and Gigi, that theme could explode into the deadliest twist yet. Because their shocking connection isn't just romantic, it's deadly. So the real question is this: will Harrison uncover Gigi's truth before it destroys him? Or will he repeat his father's fate by letting love blind him to the monster right beside him? What do you think? Is Gigi really the Ripper's daughter? Or is this another brilliant misdirect? Drop your theories in the comments and let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes. The New York Ripper is the most terrifying mystery Dexter Resurrection has given us so far. But what if I told you that every major clue about his identity is already hiding in plain sight? From the gruesome murder weapon to a chilling 5-year disappearance, this killer isn't just another shadowy villain. The writers have already left a trail of evidence, if you know where to look. So today, we're breaking down every single clue you might have missed about the New York Ripper, and by the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of who this killer might be, and why Dexter Morgan could be standing right in his path. The Ripper's legend begins with blood. 22 confirmed victims, every single one of them disemboweled. This wasn't sloppy violence, it was ritualistic, a signature that made his crimes impossible to ignore. And the weapon he used? A long rod with a hooked end, something between a crowbar and a manhole cover tool. Brutal, precise, and chillingly efficient. This detail alone tells us two things. First, the Ripper wasn't improvising. He knew exactly what kind of weapon would inflict maximum horror. And second, he took pride in his methods. The fact that this very weapon somehow ended up in Leon Prater's trophy collection should make every Dexter fan pause. How does a so-called true crime collector just happen to own the Ripper's signature tool? Coincidence or confession? But the murders tell only half the story. What makes the Ripper even more terrifying is what happened after he stopped killing. For 5 years, there were no fresh victims, no new disembowelments. And yet, his grip on New York City never loosened because he shifted his obsession from bodies to minds, tormenting the families of his victims with haunting phone calls. Imagine that. Years after burying your loved one, the phone rings, and the Ripper's voice is still there to remind you. Here's where it gets interesting. That voice analysis. Investigators described it as belonging to a Caucasian male in his mid-30s to 40s. No accent, calm, controlled, and deliberate, which means we can start crossing names off the list. It's not Blessing. His Sierra Leone accent would be impossible to hide for years. It's not Charlie or any of the female suspects either. The evidence narrows the pool down to someone far more familiar, Jonah Mitchell. The name alone sparks debate. Last time we saw him back in Nebraska, he was wielding a hook-like tool against Dexter with surprising skill. His age now lines up perfectly with the voice profile, and his cold, calculated tone back then, identical to the description of the Ripper's calls. The problem is the timeline. Official records suggest Jonah was killed years ago, long before the Ripper's spree, unless, of course, those records were wrong or deliberately covered up. And yet that's not the only theory, because what if the Ripper really did stop? Not because he chose to, but because he's already dead. Think about it. Those phone calls could easily be pre-recorded, set to play on certain dates. No slip-ups, no traceable details. Just a ghost haunting his victims from beyond the grave. If that's true, the real question becomes, who's sending them? An accomplice? A successor? Or someone using the Ripper's legend as camouflage for their own crimes? This is where Detective Claude Wallace enters the picture. Her obsession with the Ripper case defines her career, and it could also destroy it. She's been chasing this ghost since the early days of her time on the force, and in her lectures, she lays out every detail she's gathered, details the Ripper himself could be watching, using, even mocking. If Wallace is unknowingly revealing her progress, she might already be feeding the Ripper exactly what he wants. The parallels here are chilling. Remember LaGuardia, whose relentless pursuit of the Bay Harbor butcher led her straight into Dexter's trap? Wallace could be walking that same path. The closer she gets, the more dangerous it becomes. And unlike LaGuardia, Wallace isn't hunting Dexter. She's after a killer who delights in psychological warfare, someone who could break her long before he kills her. And this brings us back to the central question: who is the Ripper? The theories pile up, each more unsettling than the last. Jonah Mitchell, somehow alive, continuing his dark evolution into a prolific killer. A completely new character, someone with technical knowledge and resources designed to be Dexter's most elusive rival yet. Leon Prater himself, hiding behind wealth, influence, and a collector's obsession that feels just a little too personal. Or the most shocking theory of all, Wallace herself. If the Ripper has been inside the investigation the whole time, her obsession would suddenly make horrifying sense. Every theory has problems. Every theory has red flags. But all of them circle back to one terrifying truth. The New York Ripper is unlike any antagonist Dexter has faced before. He's not reckless. He's not sloppy. He's deliberate, calculating, and possibly still out there, waiting for the perfect time to strike again. So here's where everything collides. Unlike the Trinity Killer or the Ice Truck Killer, the New York Ripper has managed to do what no one else in Dexter's world ever could. He vanished. He proved that he could kill, stop on a dime, and still haunt his victims from the shadows. That level of control isn't just rare, it's terrifying. And if you think about it, that makes him the most dangerous opponent Dexter could ever face, because Dexter's strength has always been control, his ability to blend in, to hide in plain sight. But the Ripper has already shown he can outdo Dexter in both. He walked away from murder, and yet his presence is stronger than ever. What happens when two predators like that finally cross paths? The answer may lie in one object, the hooked weapon in Leon Prater's collection. That single piece of evidence is a ticking time bomb. If it's truly the Ripper's, then Prater either knows who the killer is, or he is the killer. If the Ripper is still alive, seeing his weapon displayed like a trophy could be the spark that pulls him out of hiding. And if he's dead, the truth about how that weapon got into Prater's hands could unravel a network of killers much larger than we imagined. For me, the most chilling possibility isn't Jonah Mitchell returning or Wallace being secretly corrupt. It's that the Ripper is still alive, watching and waiting. And when Dexter finally collides with him, it won't be just another hunt. It will be a battle of ghosts, two men who've mastered the art of living in the dark, fighting to see who gets to stay there. So now I want to hear from you. Who do you think the New York Ripper really is? Did you spot clues I didn't cover here? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you're still watching, type Dark Passenger so I know you caught every detail.
I'll take my chances, buddy.
This is where you get out.
Detective Wallace has finally put the pieces together after quietly investigating Batista's erratic behavior, digging into the Bay Harbor butcher case, and keeping an eye on Harrison. She knows the truth. Dexter Morgan isn't just a loving father and quiet presence in New York. He's the Bay Harbor butcher.
So you think about midnight then?
I'll try to make it sooner.
Can you say bye-bye, Daddy?
Bye-bye.
Did you hear that?
He said die-die.
Don't be silly. He said bye-bye. Harrison's first word. There's your good boy.
I hope so.
Bye-bye.
From the mouth of babes.
But how did Wallace get here? And why does this revelation completely shift the power dynamics in Dexter? Resurrection?
You were with Miami Metro Homicide, correct? Your old colleague, Angel Batista, paid me a visit.
Right. Batista. He was a good guy. Kind of spiraled when he found out his partner was the Bay Harbor butcher. Maybe you've heard of him? James Dokes. He was never really the same after that.
I'm sure that was upsetting. For everyone.
Let's break it down and explore how Wallace figured it all out. Episode 8, The Kill Room, Where It Happens, initially pointed the spotlight at Batista. He was desperate, more obsessed than ever, to prove Dexter's guilt. Batista secretly tracked Dexter, convinced he could finally catch him red-handed. And for a moment, it looked like he might succeed.
I've placed a tracer in Mr. Morgan's vehicle, and I'll be logging locations where Dexter spends significant periods of time.
But instead of exposing Dexter, Batista ended up exposing himself. His tracker malfunctioned. He arrived at a supposed kill room only to find nothing. No body, no Dexter, no evidence, just plastic sheeting and his own paranoia. To Detective Wallace, this wasn't the work of a sharp investigator. It was the meltdown of a man clinging to ghosts. Add in the fact that Batista was impersonating a captain when in reality he had already retired, and his credibility collapsed even further. Wallace began to see Batista not as a hero, but as a liability. And Dexter, he only looked more convincing in painting Batista as an obsessed ex-cop with a personal vendetta.
But he was here.
And why did he run away?
Because he was scared of the Bay Harbor butcher.
The man who ran, the would-be victim. Did you get his name? Identification?
It all happened so fast, you know. Look, I'm not lying. Dexter must have found it. He must have destroyed it. He's smart, finds himself out of everything. Why are you looking at me like that?
How are we looking at you?
But here's the twist. Batista's spiral didn't distract everyone. For Wallace, it sparked something deeper. The more Batista ranted about Dexter, the more Wallace quietly began to investigate. She didn't believe his every word, but she couldn't ignore the inconsistencies. First, she called Quinn, another of Batista's old associates. What she learned shocked her. The Bay Harbor butcher case was closed years ago. The man pegged as the killer, Dokes, had been framed. And Batista. He had retired suddenly with no clear reason why.
Miami Metro Homicide, Lieutenant Quinn speaking.
Hello, this is Detective Claudette Wallace, NYPD, calling to check on the status of one of your cases.
No, B?
The Bay Harbor butcher.
Sorry, did you say the Bay Harbor butcher?
Correct.
Yeah, that case has been closed for years.
I met your captain, who is actively pursuing it.
What?
I said your captain is...
It's not our captain. I mean, he was our captain, but he retired.
He is no longer an active law enforcement officer.
No. I don't know what the fuck he's doing in New York.
Piece by piece, Wallace started connecting threads. Dexter's proximity to every suspicious event, the way he always seemed just out of reach, and Batista's strange determination to prove Dokes' innocence. At first, Wallace thought Batista might simply be delusional, but now the evidence whispered a different truth.
Oh, just one more thing. Your crowbar theory is interesting, but I couldn't help but notice the blood spatter is more consistent with a longer object, something with a handle that could be swung, maybe with a point at the end, like a hook.
Dexter wasn't the victim of an obsessed ex-cop. He was the Bay Harbor butcher Batista had been chasing all along. By the end of episode 8, the focus wasn't on Batista's obsession anymore. It was on Wallace. Batista's reputation was in ruins, his credibility shredded. But in the background, Wallace had absorbed everything. Batista's accusations weren't dismissed completely, they were repurposed. She filtered out his desperation and kept the one undeniable truth. Dexter was hiding something. And with every quiet clue, every contradiction, every lie Dexter spun, Wallace reached the only conclusion that made sense. Dexter Morgan is the Bay Harbor butcher. For the first time since Dokes' death, someone with authority knows the truth. And this time, Dexter isn't just being chased by a deranged ex-cop or a suspicious partner. He's facing a detective who actually believes in the evidence. So what happens now? Does Wallace confront Dexter directly, forcing him into the most dangerous corner of his life? Does she continue gathering proof, building the case that no one else could? Or, perhaps most chilling of all, does she keep her knowledge close, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? One thing's certain, Batista's fall might ironically become Wallace's rise. By dismissing Batista, Dexter thought he removed his greatest threat. Instead, he cleared the path for someone even more dangerous. Someone calm, someone sharp, someone who already knows the truth. Dexter has always been able to escape suspicion by manipulating those around him. But Wallace isn't blinded by emotion or history. She isn't weighed down by guilt. She's methodical, careful, and relentless, which makes her the most dangerous enemy Dexter has ever faced. For years, Dexter has lived by a code that allowed him to survive in the shadows. But with Wallace now holding the truth, the shadows are gone, and the Bay Harbor butcher's secret may finally be exposed. Detective Wallace has changed the game. Dexter Morgan is no longer untouchable. The truth is out there, and Wallace has it in her hands. The only question left is, what will she do with it? Will Wallace risk everything to bring Dexter down? Or will Dexter find a way to silence her before she can act? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to know if you think Wallace is the one who finally ends Dexter's story. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Dexter, Resurrection Deep Dives. Because with Wallace now in play, the Bay Harbor butcher's days are numbered.